Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel where we sip and spill the tea on all my favorite things. And today we're going to have another tea talk and a little story time for you guys. I literally just left the ER a few hours ago, so your girl's a little bit stressed out. I really thought I was having a heart attack, but apparently I'm just having such bad anxiety. They said it is mimicking some of the signs of a heart attack. So I decided I'm gonna have a little tea, and seeing as how I don't need any caffeine or anything else since I'm having little anxiety, I've opted, and I've been waiting too long to drink these down, is some blooming tea. So I don't even know. This is JK Tea Shop on the back. It's a peach marigold flying. So we're going to get that going. I actually have my glass teapot. If you're going to do this, you have to make sure that your teapot is stovetop safe. It is a specific type of borosilicate glass that is meant to be heated up. They are not all the same. For example, the little one that comes in the Numi tea set for blooming teas on Amazon, I haven't seen where this is stovetop safe, so I would not risk that. I mean, generally you would just pour your boiling water in, you know, set this like on a little pad or something. I can't think, like a coaster to protect the glass, and then let it steep. But I love my little mini burner here. I want to get one from AliExpress, but the plugs are all wrong for the US. I did finally find one that will work over here. I just need to save up for that because it's like $70. So here's what that looks like. There we go. It's like makeup tutorials. I'm going to be using this color today. This smells so good. It is definitely an artificial peach, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Now, I was going for an herbal. I'm not sure what kind of tea. It didn't say, but it should be okay. I mean, I'm not going for a heavy grade like white tea today. Feels so weird using a, woo. Just be careful, Valerie. What just happened? Did y'all see that? What the crap? I have never seen that in my life. I'm so glad that was on camera. Hold on. I put in the tea ball, and it's almost like in the South when we're deep fat frying something. Like you put some chicken in, and when the flour hits the oil, it just up. That's what it looked like. Scared me half to death. I'm like, oh, please do not catch my IKEA desk on fire today. That was going to be so bad, y'all. Forgot to plug my new mic in. So now the sound should be a little bit better for you guys. Let me know how this sounds. Will you guys let me know in the comments if this is too loud or it comes out like blah, blah, blah. Because I don't really know like what setting I should put it on. I don't really know. So let me know that if this sounds good to you. But y'all, that really just scared the boo-boo out of me. Let me turn this down. I will have a link down below if you guys want this. I do have a full video review on this, and I will give the disclaimer. When you are done with this, unplug it. Do not trust that it's going to turn off. And I know that sounds janky, but you guys have no idea how hard it is to find a mini burner, like a little mini tea stove. They are so popular in China and Japan, but here in the US, they just haven't reached the point where they're selling them over here yet. This is literally the only one I could find. Like I said, AliExpress. I finally found a seller who has one with the US plug, but we're going to have to save up for that because we've got to get kids back into school, and that costs money. But it is opening really nicely, and the peach aroma is filling up the room. So while that is doing its thing, I'll let you look at that instead of my face. I'm sure you guys would rather that anyway. I was going to read you guys, before we get into our topics of discussion, give you guys a little information about some blooming tea. And while we're doing that, you can look at my new keyboard. I really need a new tablet so bad. This thing is so old. It's just sitting here like... It's like trying to turn itself on. Like I already had a Google page pulled up. I had a Google page pulled up and now it's just like, not today, Whom. Okay, here we go. It is really opening up to be really, really pretty. The boiling, now again, these are supposed to just sit in the water and delicately open up. But I really want, I mean, I prefer to brew mine because I want a strong flavor. Otherwise, you do get a somewhat lighter flavor. Okay, so blooming tea. What is a blooming tea? Blooming teas are elegantly handcrafted using an intricate production process that involves tremendous manual finesse. Ooh. And then what I found interesting when I looked these up, they are hand tied. I mean, I haven't seen anyone say they're mechanically tied, but typically they are hand tied together and then left to dry in that way. Just like that. But I was reading here, like, what is blooming tea good for? And it says the health benefits of flower tea are numerous. The tea is full of antioxidant properties which can prevent stress, aid weight loss, boost vitality, and even help decrease the risk of developing cancer. Do we need to say more? I mean, you done promised to take my stress and my problems away, but then you said you're going to transform my potato body into something new. I am here for it. So we're going to let that boil. Again, I like the strongest flavor out of mine. And I'm going to turn the tripod a bit. I've got to figure out a better setup where you guys can see if I'm brewing something and talk at the same time. Unless you would just rather watch the teapot, let me know. I will arrange that for you. Okay, so on today's menu, we're going to be talking about hospitals and husbands. And I hope that has piqued your interest. We're going to be talking about mental health and children and how children correlate and like how they think about mental health. We're going to talk about that and do just a quick little story time of something that kind of helped me like put all this together today. So first of all, hospitals and husbands. I know you're like, what? So we were at the hospital today. Again, I have been having like some tightness in my chest over the last week. And I really thought it's just anxiety. It's stress. We've got things going on. I'd lay down, I'd feel better. But today I was picking the kids up from band and something wasn't right. And even my left arm was going numb. And I do know from things like family members have been through that that's not good. And I probably did the worst thing you could do, which is Google like your symptoms. That was not good. And so anyway, I'm still having very tightness of chest. I was even like, I ate something and it felt like a brick sitting inside of me. And, you know, that's weird because my body does not reject food at all. And that was one of the things it said, you know, if you're going to have a heart attack, like you have indigestion. And so I went and we go into the hospital. Only one person can come with you. COVID in Arkansas, it's embarrassing. We have 19,000 cases, and that has happened over just a couple week period. We are not going to get into that. We are not on this channel going to talk currently about whether you believe in vaccine or not. Just push that to the side because that's not what we're here for. There is not enough tea in the world to get into that debate. But, so we went, Ooh, my daughter went with me. I could have one person. And so my oldest is 16. She's my little buddy. And we go in and walk up, and the lady's like, what are you here for? And I'm like, I'm having some chest pain and shortness of breath and yada yada. And first of all, I felt like we were at a fast food restaurant because the little old lady was behind the plexiglass thing, and she's like, she's calling in a walkie, and it's quiet in there, like everybody can hear everything. She's like, we have a chest pain patient up front. And I'm like, dang, lady. And I'm looking around, I'm like, maybe I don't want everyone to know that my chunky potato ass is having chest pain, because they're gonna look at me and be like, girl, lay off the Crisco, you know. And I'm like, golly, can we get some daggum HIPAA privacy up in here? Nope. And so anyway, she's like, okay, have a seat, so I want to be out in a minute. So we go over to the little waiting area. It's all one waiting area, just one, small. I wish I would have taken a picture. Not big at all. It was like half the size of a front McDonald's lobby. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Let me get some tea because I'm getting thirsty already. Let me pan you guys over. Okay. This teapot is by Tea Bloom, and I really do like this, and they have some very pretty ones, if you guys can see in there. Ooh, this peach smells so yum. Yeah, Val, let's just spill that everywhere. That's just what our tea towels are for. Very hot. My poor desk. Y'all, it never had a chance. Never had a chance. So anyway, we go in and we're like, going to sit down. You know, it's just awkward when everyone in the hospital's like staring anyway, and you're the new patient to walk in. And so we sit down. Sorry, y'all. I need to get readjusted here. Okay. Are we good? Val? We're good, sis? There we are. And we're walking, and the lady starts yelling through the plexiglass. She's like, don't walk past the trees. And I was like, what? And there were like 2 fake trees in the waiting room. And I'm like, what the hell is she saying? And she said, did you not see my sign? Y'all, there was a yellow sign about double the size of this pad of paper. Very small. And it said, do not sit in this area unless authorized, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I said, ma'am, I'm Korean. I have little eyes and I see in widescreen. No, I did not see your Post-it note size sign. I said, so, you know, I'm sorry about that. So we go and we sit down, and my daughter's like, Mom, why are those people over there? Like, what does that mean, you know? And then the lady yells, it's COVID City. And I'm like, what is happening here? Like, I'm pretty sure legally you're not supposed to just be saying these things out loud. And second of all, I'm about to walk up out of here. Like, because I'm like, okay, first of all, you should have had up a biohazard sign or something. And second of all, we're all in the same teeny tiny waiting room. And the only thing separating us, y'all, is a yellow sign and 2 artificial trees. So, me being me, I'm like, so, hi, ma'am, hi. So is there an invisible air shield that is supposed to protect us from those that are COVID positive? Or y'all gonna move them somewhere else with the door and shut the door? Nothing. So, yeah, I mean, I was pretty on edge because it just didn't make sense to me that they had COVID positive patients sitting there literally in the same breathing area, because we know enough about it now to know that it's airborne and it's passed through the air. So I was curious as to why they didn't have a specific contained area. I'm not saying like bubble boy them, but y'all know what I mean. Like just a room with a door. I can remember when my kiddos were little and taking them to the pediatrician, and they had a sick room and they had a well child room, and sick children went on one side of the clinic, well children went on the other. And I really appreciated that. I was like, that is awesome common sense. Way to go, guys. But we can't do that with adults. We can't do that with COVID. You can't just have a COVID room or COVID area. We're just all going to be sitting here breathing it in. I mean, that right there is, to me, very, very unsafe. I mean, whatever. I mean, hospital's unsafe anyway. Y'all just get what I'm saying. I'm saying from the common sense standpoint. I was like, what? And so anyway, when we go back, I'm talking to the nurse. I'm a very talkative person. And I ask her, and she's like, well, I'm not legally allowed to say, but just stay away from them. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I said, hey, by the way, if this EKG, they did like a quick EKG. I said, if it's good and y'all, I'm not gonna, God forbid, just fall over and die or have a heart attack, can I go? And she looked at me and she's like, yeah. She was like, I will go show this to the doctor, because I'm like, I want to GTFO up out of here now. Like, you guys, I'm a stay-at-home mother now. Pretty much, Brian has us set up where, we try to get as many things delivered as possible. I do venture out into the local Walmart, but other than that, I'm not seeing people. I'm not going around people, and I know that that's not realistic to last forever, but that is my life right now. And it was just a very eerie feeling to know, okay, hey, I'm sitting very near a woman who was COVID positive. Especially since Noelle is having to have surgery this coming Friday. She's got to get her gallbladder taken out. That's a whole nother thing. And she has to go get COVID tested on Thursday back at the hospital that she's having surgery at. So, I've got all these things running through my mind. I'm like, did I make a mistake coming here? Like, am I overreacting? No, my chest is really hurting. What are we going to do? And anyway, I was starting to get really panicky. So the nurse came back and she was like, the doctor says, as far as the electrical part of your heart, it looks good. If you want to stay, we'll check you out further. And I was like, I think I will take my chances and I will call my doctor, because it was too late in the afternoon to go to my doctor anyway. I was like, I will go to my doctor tomorrow and see what needs to be done. But I'm out. Y'all have a nice night. Y'all seem real busy, so hope that all works out for you. Mama's got to go. So I did, and I've been laying down for a little bit, but I really just wanted to be able just to have some tea, and yeah, anyway. So the cutest thing happened while we were sitting there, and it's going to lead me a little bit into a little bit of story time for you guys. So we're sitting there, and this elderly man walks in up to the same lady, and we will call her D, just for reference. He walks up and speaks to D, and he's wanting to see his wife. So she looks up. She's like, oh, okay. Hey, your wife has COVID, and since you've been around her, we can't allow you in the hospital to see her. And y'all, it escalated. So we're sitting there watching this all go down, and he, again, there is she's like in a glass cubicle thing with a sliding door, and he puts his hand in there and he's like, you listen to me, Missy. And he was like, nobody is gonna tell me that I can't go see my wife, not you or not anybody. And then he proceeds to tell her that I am going to call the police on you. He said, and I was a police officer for 32 years and I know people, and you're not going to tell me nothing. And boy, he was letting her have it. And my first instinct was, whoa, like, calm down. But then instantly it reminded me of what Brian did, and we'll get into that in a minute. And my heart just softened for him because he wasn't mad at her. All he wanted to do was, oh, it's gonna make me cry. I'm so emotional lately. You'd think I'm pregnant, but I had a hysterectomy. He wanted to just go see her and make sure she was okay. Like, that's his wife. He wanted to go see her. So the lady didn't do the best job being empathetic, and I get it. She's in the emergency room, so she probably sees crackheads and Lord knows who all day long. And so I think you tend to lose a little bit of empathy for people. I mean, I've worked with the public. I completely know what that's like, but elderly people are different. And I think she definitely needed some sensitivity training, but she didn't handle it probably how I would have handled it, or most people would have handled it. But I don't know if that's her personality or what. But anyway, Noelle leans over and she said, "Mom, that is literally Brian when he gets old." And I was like, yes, sis. I was like, I was thinking the same thing. Because 2 years ago, I think, almost to the month, yeah, I had a septoplasty done on my nose. I had trauma to my nose when I was 16 by one of my siblings who is very, I don't even know the word, but he is mentally not okay. And he has been incarcerated for many, many, many years. Just not a healthy, good person. And anyway, it was pretty traumatic what I went through. But over the years, they had a lot of trouble even getting my nose like back together. Because he says it's like, it seems like I remember him telling my mom it was like crumpled paper, like trying to put it all back or whatever. But anyway, I could never breathe right ever afterward. And even if you guys go back like before 2 years ago and listen to my videos, you will constantly hear me and like clearing my throat because I could not breathe constantly. And it finally got to the point where, like, if I laid next to Brian, he'd be like, "Dude, stop it." And I'm like, "Brian, I cannot breathe. Like, I'm not just doing this." And there had been so many years where I just didn't realize that I was even doing anymore because I had lived with it for nearly 20 years. So he was like, "We need to go see a doctor." So finally went to see ENT. He looked in there and was like, "You have such a tiny little nose." And he said, the scar tissue is bad in there. So ended up having the septoplasty done, and you guys, it was so bad. That was worse than the C-sections with the babies, all three. Worse than the hysterectomy. Up there with getting the nose and face broken. Up there. But I rank that being the number one worst thing. Pain, irritation, and I didn't know then, and I have a video. So you guys, I will link that down below. I have a video of me getting all the stuff taken out, and the whole time I'm recovering, I'm going to get to the story, but y'all will understand. I'm going to take you all the way around the world while I'm telling the story. Let me see if this tea is cooled off. Oh, that's so good and peachy. Oh, that is good. Oh, it is condensed down, like steep down. Look at that golden deliciousness. Look how pretty. See, you can boil it and it'll still be pretty. So, anyway, yeah, I have that video. My sister wanted to film it. I was like, okay. Well, anyway, the whole time I'm recovering, and they've got stuff up in your nose. The tip of my nose hurt so bad. Like if I barely it hurt so bad. Come to find out, when he takes it all out, there was a stitch running from one nostril clean through to the other. And that's what was holding these white things. You'll see them like take out of my face. Was one stitch through my nose. So the moment he cut and removed that stitch and took everything out, my nose did not hurt right there. Oh, that still just horrifies me to think about that. That there, I feel so weird. Like, there was a stitch straight through my nose. But as you can tell, I do breathe better now. I am more refined. I am a new person with my new SEPTOPLASTY. But boy, that was a long, disgusting road to get there. So anyway, all right. So the story, how they link together. So as I'm watching this man, you know, try to whatever to get to his wife. He's going to do whatever it takes. When I went in for the SEPTOPLASTY, now I would have to get into a little bit of Brian's background, and I'm not going to do that for privacy reasons, but I will tell you that he did not have it easy at all. He did not. And growing up, he really became that man, that lonesome wolf, just by himself in the world. No family, no anything, just really by himself. And so now that he has me and the kids, he is adapting to having family. Especially, we had only been together, we'd been living together for a year at that point. It was fairly new, and so he was very protective. It was like, these are my humans. No one's going to mess with them. And also, Brian is a little bit of a jerk. He does not take no for an answer. Trust me. Like, he's not going to take no for an answer. And sometimes it's funny, and a lot of times it's embarrassing. But, yeah. And so they're waiting for the doctor. Like, they come in, they prep, they do all this stuff. And him and my son were getting hungry. They wanted snacks. And I was like, you guys, like, I hadn't been able to eat after midnight. They had already eaten their breakfast in front of me, as if that wasn't bad enough. And I was like, guys, I mean, they didn't do it like in a mean way, but I was like, do not eat in front of me. I am starving at this point. And so he's like, okay. And he had asked the nurse, like, hey, how long do you think it's going to be before she goes back? And he's like, it'll probably be another 45 minutes. And he's like, okay. So him and Caillou, they ran somewhere. I don't know if they just went to a vending machine or the cafe. I think they might have just went to the cafeteria. I would not imagine he left the hospital. But y'all, as soon as Caillou and Chubb leave, they come in like 3 minutes later. And I'm like, oh no. And I said, my boyfriend and my son just left. Can we wait till they get back? And he's like, oh, the surgeon, everyone, they're like lined up. We got to go. And I was like, no, I don't think that you understand that if I'm not here, there's going to be hell to pay. And they did not listen, and it was heck to pay. So they take me back, and the whole time I'm trying to explain to them, hey guys, look, he's gonna bust through this door. Like, you guys just don't know this man. Sure enough, I'm waiting, like, they have me in like a pre-surgery, pre-op area. I remember there being lots of curtains, multiple beds, some people coming in from surgery, or like after surgery, some like me waiting to go in. And I'm prepped, I'm ready. Anesthesiology has already done my IV. They've ran tests. Like, I'm literally about to go in. And this hospital person, he was not a doctor nor a nurse. I think they ended up calling an administrator down from the hospital, something like that. But it was not a nurse. It was like some, what's the word I'm looking for? Some business person that worked there. Brian, when they got back, he had realized I was gone, and he had, poor guy. He had such a fear of something going wrong and that he didn't get to say, I love you. Like, I want to see you again. And unless you really know his story, you won't really understand how important that was. Now, I understand it's a hospital, day in and day out, they're doing surgeries, but their story is not our story. And this was super important to him. He was freaking out. Now, he is a large man. He is tall. He is strong. We like to say he's been told by someone that he looks like he is from like Viking descendants. I'm not kidding you guys. And he threw a fit when I was gone. And he was like, no, you told us 45 minutes. Apparently I don't know. There were probably curse words. Got into it with whoever, and he was like going through doors. He, like, hey, there's not enough of y'all to stop me. And I guess someone finally said, hey, look, like for HIPAA, we can't have you back there because there's other patients. We can't just let you like go back there. Like, I guess someone had to finally stop him, and whoever came back there, the employee was like, hey, are you Valerie? And I was like, yeah. And he said, he's like, I think he probably said fiance, because it's easier to say fiance than just, boyfriend. I think they said, hey, your fiance is waiting outside the door and he is not a happy guy. And I said, yeah, I imagine not. I said, I tried to tell the doctors and nurses that, hey, we need to wait till he gets back or he's going to flip out. I said, you guys told us 45 minutes, and then they came and got me right after him and my son went to get something to eat down in the cafeteria. And he said, yeah, so he is very upset. And we explained to him that you are prepped and fixing to go into the operating room, but he has thrown such a fit that we are allowing this one time. He said, ma'am, we don't do this. He said, we are allowing them to come back here and see you, but there can only be one. And he said, so he said to send your son back. Still makes me want to cry. Like, I'm not even faking that. And I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, if he threw such a fit to come see me and tell me bye, why is he sending Chubb back here? I think my son at the time was 11. And so that kind of confused me. And I'm like, okay. And again, like, they've already given me, I think they gave me medicine to like calm me down. I don't even know, because I was feeling pretty relaxed at that point. And Caillou comes back there and he was like, mama, he was like, Brian tore some people up. And I was like, oh really? What happened? And he said, oh, he was mad that they lied, and when we came back you were gone, and he flipped out. And I said, well, son, why did he send you back? Why didn't he come back? And he said, mama, they said only one of us could come back, and that it should be me, so that I could tell you I love you, just in case, God forbid. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, he said, since I'm your son. And that was very sweet. I mean, I literally was crying, and there was like a nurse standing there listening, and I know that she was like the same. We were like, what? And I know it sounds stupid, but it really wasn't. It was really so freaking sweet and romantic at the time. He doesn't do things like that anymore. I mean, I'm not having surgery every day, but that was so freaking romantic and sweet at the time. And anyway, I remember when I got out and I woke up and I got to see him. Like, I remember just like wanting to like hug him and ask him. I always ask a billion questions. It drives him insane. And I remember just being like, why didn't you come back there? And I wanted to see you too, and blah, blah, blah. And who all did you cuss out? And blah, blah, blah. And the lady said that you were a very upset man. And I do remember the lady saying, he's not so nice. And I said, yeah, I was like, Brian can be an asshole. He can be. I said, but in all due respect, you guys lied and then kind of came and took me. And I mean, I understand that you guys are on your schedule too. I mean, I do understand that. I'm not saying that I don't respect hospital staff. I know that they do the absolute best that they can and that it has to be like that and they don't have time to wait on everyone else. But at the same time, don't tell me it's going to be 45 minutes and then come geet me up out of the room without my family knowing. That part was pretty messed up. So anyway, it just kind of brought me back to that moment when I saw that man like looking at this woman with his serious eyes and his pointing finger. And by God, he was going to get to his wife. And he finally did go out to his car. So when we left, he was parked next to us. I'm like, okay, COVID positive, parked next to us. I'm like, well, hurry up and get in the car. And he was on the phone letting somebody have it. And my heart just really went out to this man. I'm like, it's just very sad, you know, because you don't know the situation. I don't know how long it's been, you know, since he's seen her. Will he see her? With COVID on the rise here in Arkansas, so badly, you know, I mean, I understand that they're gonna crack down and stuff. I mean, y'all, honestly, Arkansas has never cracked down on COVID ever. Even when we were into the thick of the pandemic, people were just acting like rules didn't apply to them. Like, oh, y'all can do it, but I won't put a mask on and I won't stay home. And again, we won't get into the politics of that, but it just kind of sucks to live in a state that it was never really taken seriously. And that is actually one reason why I am not a pharmacy tech anymore, because it really wasn't being taken that seriously at the job I was at. Matter of fact, when I was the first one to wear a mask there, I made my own mask and I remember being laughed at. Like, I remember specifically 2 employees laughing at me. And it was funny because one of them was high up manager, and I still love this person to this day. And that person actually ended up getting COVID later on. And it was crazy because she was like making comments and stuff. And then I remember one day this person came in and asked, do you know anyone that has COVID? Do you like think this is real? And sure enough, that person ended up getting COVID themselves. And so I was like, who's laughing now? I was like, I wore a mask. And I don't care how stupid I looked at the time. They did end up buckling down towards the end of it. But the particular company that I worked for, well, first of all, they were severely understaffed. And that, you know, when you're trying to do 3 stations and do the job literally of 3 people, it just wears you out after a while. And that kind of wore on me too. But I don't know. It was kind of a crap show, and I really loved what I did. Like, I want to get back into that because it was fascinating and there was always something to learn. And I really, really love environments like they were just kind of jerks to their employees. I mean, they were just kind of jerks. All right. So that is the wrap up for hospitals and husbands. The next thing on the menu that we're going to talk about today is mental health and children, or the younger folk. And something happened in the car today that made me take a mental note to say, hey, you know, I think we should discuss this. So we're driving in the car, taking the kids to band practice, and I have just been going through some things, and a lot of stress, a lot of personal things, and somehow sometimes when people are depressed, or they're sad, or they're dealing with things, or they're at a low point, or they're just not feeling it, or maybe they're just not feeling themselves, whatever the case may be, there can be a billion explanations But when you are in not so good of a place, you don't want to have to explain all of that. So it's easier for somebody to just say, you know what, I'm just depressed. You don't want to go into a whole rigmarole of what is going on inside of you. So it's easier just to categorize it in a way that most humans will understand. Hey, I'm sad. Hey, I'm tired. I'm depressed. I'm just not feeling it, whatever the case may be. But for me, I typically will be like, when I'm just at a low point and putting it in a way that my children will understand, hey guys, you know what? Right now, I'm just depressed. Just like, take it easy on me. Don't be fighting today, blah, blah, blah. And so one of the kids had said, well, I'm pretty sure that depressed people don't know they're depressed and they don't say they're depressed. And so part of the problem is that children nowadays, now my kids don't have TikTok, but TikTok still show up on like Instagram and Facebook videos and stuff. So they do still see them. There is this young culture of what my kids say is called pick me. It's like, pick me, pay attention to me. So there's a whole culture of these younger folks that will do things to get attention. So this is the way that young children's minds work now is, oh, she's saying this about herself. She must want attention, without understanding that that is wrong, that sometimes people are telling the truth and they're trying to verbalize how they're feeling the best way they know how. And so I turn and I asked my daughter, I'm like, what? And she said, yeah. She was like, if you're depressed, you don't know it. And you don't come out and you don't just say you're depressed. You just are. And I was like, how did I birth you? Who are you? And I really had to take a step back and go, Valerie, she's 15. She's 15. She knows it all. And her mind just doesn't understand what she's saying. Like, she really, really doesn't understand. And this is where I felt like, you know what, as a parent, like, we need to teach our children and talk to our children about these things for a couple reasons. One being that she might be going to school with a child who literally has mental health issues. And the only way that child could tell another child, like, hey, I noticed you look down today. Maybe that child doesn't want to say their mental health issues that they actually are diagnosed with or that they are struggling with that day. So maybe they just say, yeah, I'm feeling a little depressed. I don't want my child, because they see this on social media where girls are trying to be pick-me girls and do things for attention. I don't want them thinking that if someone tells them that they are depressed or they're anxious or they're having an anxiety attack or whatever the case may be, that they're faking it or that they're just saying that. Because maybe that is all that human knows how to tell you that they're feeling. So best believe, aside from me wanting to just take my shoe and whoop her, I really had to say, Valerie, she's not saying this to be a spoiled brat. She just doesn't understand what she's saying. So I had the proper conversation with her, like, hey, T-daughter number 2, you don't know what you're talking about, and let me explain to you why. So people can be going through many things. And when you are at a low point or you are depressed, you don't want to say it and you don't want to explain it because you're just tired. One of the things about true depression, it is the lack of hope. When people are truly, truly depressed and at their lowest, it is because in their minds and their hearts, there's no way out. I have no options. There is no hope. This is doomsday. This is the final of all final. And you just don't care to pull, like, let me back up. It's like you don't want to just have this conversation. You just want to exist, and you just want to process and be alone, and what, everyone's different, but you don't want to have a conversation and be like, hey, yeah, thanks for checking. I'm this, a little bit of this and a dash of that. And I told her, I was like, Hannah, as your mom, like, I'm going through some things, and I don't want to explain them all to you, and I don't have to explain them all to you, but you should have enough human decency that if I'm telling you that I'm depressed, then you need to respect that and understand that I'm 36 years old and I'm not making this up. I have no idea what your little TikTok trends are, and I don't want anybody to pick me. I am telling you so that your little mind will understand not to fight with your brother today, because you're going to end up getting grounded and your little butt tore up today if you don't, because mom is done. And it really worried me, and I started thinking outside of the box of like, well, I mean, I'm sure a majority of most children who don't have mental health issues probably think that about kids. I can remember kids I went to school with that really had mental health issues, and they were made fun of. And, we would roll our eyes and be like, yeah, okay, But the truth is that these people really were suffering. And as children, our minds couldn't understand this. And best believe my mother, we never spoke about mental health in our household, even though there were issues happening in our household, especially with my older brothers. But we didn't sit down and we didn't talk about these things because back then we didn't do that. You know what I mean? And I, especially in our house, want that to be a conversation of, no, this is a real thing. Depression, anxiety, bipolar. There's so many things. You don't know what people have going on. So don't assume that if someone comes to you and they're trying to tell you like how they're feeling, don't disregard it. That's not your place. It's not your place to be Inspector Gadget and figure out, go see if they're lying. No, your job is just to be a nice person, a kind human, and just try to understand and be there for someone. So if someone is maybe not laughing as much in class, or not wanting to be included, you need to be respectful of that. And kindness goes a long way to somebody like that. And of course we have these conversations, and this is how children will grow properly is, parents talking with them, giving them examples and showing them, hey, this is where your mind, veered off. Let's get you back on course, so that we can help nurture and grow their minds into understanding this. Because if we teach our children not to be spoiled little assholes, and we raise them to be good little humans and kind people, we'll have more of them in the world. Now, our household, we old school, okay? Now my kids are getting taller than me. Daughter number 1, she's a short one. She ain't gonna be taller than me, I don't think. Unless platforms come in style, then maybe. But the other 2, no, they're taller than me. So, spanking them, that's been a hard one not to be able to do anymore, because now they're like, okay, mom, but obviously, taking away games, phones, things like that. And just overall, just teaching them to just be respectful, goes a long way. But these are things that we should be talking to our children about. Whether you guys, have mental health issues or you don't, we need to be talking to children about this, so that they understand, especially if they're teenagers, because there are many youngsters that deal with issues, and we want our kids to understand these children, so that we see less S words. Can't really say it on YouTube. talked about it in my last video, where people want to yeet themselves up out of this world. We don't want that. And, you know, part of that is people being able to recognize those signs and just being there for somebody, because that's what it's all about. Especially if someone is low and depressed, you kind of sink into this darkness, and you really have to have someone like pull you out. It literally is like emotional drowning, and you know, you gotta have someone to just keep on, you know, whether it be a friend, keep texting you like, no, you're gonna get out of bed today, hey, no, get up, wash your hair today, you know, do these little things to kind of pull you out of it. So for me, example, I have on the makeup today, and you guys have seen me at my best, you guys have seen me at my worst on this channel, so y'all know what I really look like. But for me, I was like, you know what, no, today I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna wash my hair, and I'm gonna do my face, and I'm gonna put on my eyebrows, and that really just helps me, especially if I'm in a funk. Like, no, you get up and make a YouTube video today, and by golly, it might not get but 20 views, but you got up and you did it, and that's what matters. So have the conversations with your kids so that those kids don't grow up to be little assholes that the rest of us have to deal with. Okay. And, so the last thing is, small little story time. It was the night I was at the ER, I think with T-daughter number 1, who, when her gallbladder, when we found out, like, you know, hey, she's got to have her gallbladder taken out. Oh, time out, you guys. Oh, look at that rich honey pot, y'all. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's hot. Don't drop that, Valerie. Do not drop that, because that new keyboard took about 3 months to arrive. We do not want to wait another 3 months. So there was a nurse, and again, I'm a talkative person. I don't like awkwardness, so I'm going to talk to you, ask how your day was. Do you like your job? Blah, blah, blah. Did you see anything interesting today? And I remember the nurse saying that there was a young girl there, and it was her birthday. And she brought herself to the hospital because she wanted to yeet herself up out of this world. Excuse me. And how at first the nurse was like, yeah, I just feel so bad for her and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, you know, I said a little prayer for her, you know, while I was in the room. And then later, like, the nurse came back and she was just like, oh, this girl, she was like, she's just crying and crying. And I'm just like, girl, come on. And at the time, I didn't really think about what she was saying. It's kind of one of those things that I think I had so much other stuff going on, but it kind of came out in my brain filing cabinet like recently, because I was thinking about it and I was like, wait a minute. What? Like, I mean, first of all, the nurse, she was kind of a brat. I mean, people trying to break into the room. I've got cats meowing out the door and a teenager trying to get in. But the nurse was kind of a brat. I mean, she was kind of not nice anyway to begin with. And, it's just one of those things that kind of just came out, and I was like, that's not okay. First of all, you shouldn't be really talking to me about other patients, but I understand. I mean, the job, like, it's okay to like talk about things, you know, and like it helps the day pass. And she didn't like break any HIPAA laws. I didn't know who it was or anything, but the fact that she was kind of being so heartless about it, like, because the girl was upset and apparently you can't handle this. And at the time, again, I think I just was dealing with other things, but when it finally just kind of came out in my brain, I was like, that is so messed up that you are so desensitized in your profession that somebody is brave enough to drive themselves to a hospital on their birthday and have to tell someone, hey, I think I need help because I'm going to hurt myself. And they're processing things that you have no idea. And because she's upset and maybe unconsolable, whatever, that to you, she should just suck it up. Because you know what I mean? We don't know. Okay, let me back up. It's easy for you when you are a nurse. Clearly, you've been doing this a long time. You have a career. Maybe you don't worry about money. Maybe you have a great life. Maybe you have a great husband. Maybe you have children and you have a lot of friends. But just because your life may be great does not mean that someone else's is not. And even if hers was good, maybe she's dealing with other things. There's a billion possibilities. But all she came there for was help, and not for some overworked, grouchy ass nurse to judge her. And that really hit home with me. And by the way, I go to this hospital quite often. I cut the tip of my finger off a few weeks ago. They see me often. I'm very accident prone. And if I see this lady again, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I was going to come up with something funny, but I have nothing. But still, it just really irks me. I'm like, ain't you a woman? Like, ain't you a woman? Like, you should know. Because she had mentioned the girl was younger. Again, she didn't give out age. But I'm like, girl, I remember my younger years. It was rough. Rough. Life was like, oh, okay. Let me just all the time. So anyway, that really bothered me. I'm like, so if people can't even trust to be able to come to a place where that is safe for them, where are they supposed to go and what are they supposed to do? Because if they're going to be met with someone like that, who's not sympathetic, who's not soft and caring, that could be the difference between somebody living or not. And I know that firsthand. Like, you can't just be rash with someone like that. You can't just be like, oh, suck it up, girl. No, this is not your girlfriend. This is not your bestie. This is not, you know what I mean? You don't have a right to say that to them. You really have to tread delicately with somebody like that because they are so fragile. They're at a fragile point, and here you are just being like, girl, suck it up. I got a guy in B4 bleeding to death. You know what I mean? That's not her problem, though. That's not her problem. And you chose to be a nurse. So if you don't want to handle all types of problems, then maybe that's not the job for you. And that one really kind of pissed me off after it kind of unfurled in the brain a little bit. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, that is an awful thing. But again, that's how my mind works. Sometimes I got so much going on that at the time I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And then later I'll think about it and be like, wait, what? Yeah, it's pretty bad like that. Anyway, so this video is already going to be too long. I apologize for that, but that is how the tea talks work. I'm going to take you guys all the way around the world. This is episode number 2. So you guys can follow up on my first one. We talk about the lovely Britney Spears and her little narcissistic sister, Jamie Lynn Spears. Shame on you. This tea is wonderful. However, I think I'm going to do with the rest. I think I'm going to serve that over ice. That's what it looks like. So it has boiled down to this really, really nice amber color. I think I'm going to turn it off. Now, remember with this, you turn the dial all the way down and then unplug it. Because, again, I've had it come or stay on Very dangerous. I do love this unit, but just unplug it. But I think I'm going to serve that over ice, and I think that will work really, really well. All right, you guys. Well, I do hope that you guys are enjoying these tea talks a little bit. If there's something you want or a topic you want to discuss, I would love to do that with you guys. I have tons of product built up for our affordable Amazon finds. If you guys want me to continue that, I will continue doing that. I have a huge matcha maker sitting here in the floor, and I've had it for embarrassingly a year. Have I had it a year? I think I've had it almost a year in the floor. I know. But if you guys want to see that, I would love to film that. It's where we're going to grind our own matcha and see how that works. And then I found a random kettle I had in the closet. So I guess we're going to do that as well. And again, I'm finding crap all over just because I don't have a central area to put it all. But I will see you all in the next video. Oh, and if you have not already, follow me on Instagram, like, and subscribe.